What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Review for HIgurashi When They Cry Go. This is episode 19. With me, as always, I have Blue Spade.
So this episode, well, it was definitely building up towards, what is eventually going to be happening up to, we saw in a couple of weeks ago. We were actually, watching some prediction videos prior to this, like, of what would happen if, like, I guess, like, as we all know, we do know that Rika attended St. Lucia Academy, but we were speculating whether or not Sadako was able to attend there as well. So, I mean, we pick up where the last episode left off, in which, of course, Rika wanted Sadako to join her to attend St. Lucia Academy. So they spend pretty much, at least I think they said 2 or 3 years studying hard to take the entrance exams. And at first, by the time they go to St. Lucia Academy to check on their grades, at first I initially thought that Sadako wasn't going to be accepted into St. Lucia Academy, and there was, and of course it already confirmed that Rika already passed to attend there. But at first, that one scene, I thought for a moment there that I thought Sadako wasn't able to get the necessary grades to attend the school, but suddenly she just said that, "Oh, I passed. I can join the school now," which took me by surprise.
I thought that too, based on her facial expression. But I think the reason she might have passed is because she was so motivated to attend the school with Rika. And we kind of see that sort of go away as the episode goes on, though, as she becomes kind of less interested in applying herself to her studies and all that.
Yeah, it's like majority of the girls like attending that school have to display a proper etiquette, have to pretty much be at a much higher standard than what she's used to.
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious that she doesn't really like that kind of environment because of she's just not used to it, and she doesn't really. It's obvious that she doesn't really fit in there.
No, I mean, but of course, like Rika is more or less like, she's like essentially more used to a more grown up personality, just due to how many years that she's lived throughout her life in Hinamizawa. So I mean,
you can understand from her perspective why she'd want to move on, as opposed to Sadako, where she didn't. She kind of wanted things to stay the same, but Rika was more determined to actually move on with her life, especially after, like you said, having been through hundreds of years of time loops where she would just stay in Hinamizawa. Yeah,
and of course it pretty much starts spiraling down for Sadako even further when one of the, I think it was either one of the teachers or one of the headmistresses at the school telling her that she has to go to the study hall to improve her grades. And of course this doesn't sit well with Sadako, because she'll be separated from Rika even further.
Even before this happens, we see that the girls around Rika are kind of regard her differently than they do with Sadako. Rika's actually popular, whereas Sadako is just like, they don't really seem to like Sadako as much, and they invite Rika to I guess go have tea with them, and of course Rika asks Sadako if she wants to come along, but Sadako refuses, and Sadako also in a way sort of seems to distance herself from Rika as well. And I guess it must be because maybe she doesn't, like we said before, she's not really accustomed to that kind of environment, and it just maybe isn't the same as like her old school, where she would just like do the after school clubs and all that, and she's not really, she doesn't really want to be like drinking tea and fancy tea with these girls or something, as opposed to Rika.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. Yeah, it makes sense, because this is not something that Sadako really asked for. I mean, it's not. I mean, of course she would attend some other standard high school or something like that, in which she can be herself for once. But this is not this is not really in an environment that like you said, it's that she's really used to. I mean, like, she's not like, it's not a place where she can really be herself at times, but it's like, but it gets to the point where she's, that her mentality just starts spiraling down to the point where she feels resentful towards Rika for pretty much like, breaking her promise to be together, like, for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, and when she's taking one of those, like, I mean, so like you said, the one of the headmistresses or whatever is telling her that, like, her grades are doing so bad that she needs to take one of the, I guess one of these remedial classes, and when she's in there, like, all the girls just look, they just all look like they just hate it or something, like they just have the same facial expression. And then she talks to this one girl who says basically that you basically need to, if you don't have, like, if you're not from a certain family, or if you don't, like, act a certain way, then you're not as highly regarded, I guess, as some of the other girls in the school. I guess it's not so much your grades, but I mean, the grades seem to play a part of it, like, because it seems like you have to not only have high grades, but you also have to just be, someone that's either from a rich, well-to-do family, or you're just like the way you act, I suppose, has a lot to do with how, like, how respected you are, I guess, at the school.
Yeah, just to try to be at a much higher standard than what you're used to, I guess. But yeah, like, by the end of the episode, like, it just completely, like, well, it didn't go well. It's starting to get, start spiraling down to the point, like I said, it's, where Sadako is starting to be a little bit more resentful towards Rika.
Yeah, because she starts, like, kind of spying on Rika, while Rika's, drinking tea with the other girls. Yeah,
and like saying that, like, you made this promise that we would be together forever, but what do you say now, Rika? After that. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, like, how this is gonna end up. I think, and plus we still don't know how Sadako ends up being a looper in the first place. I mean, we kind of still speculate maybe it could be one of the witches that comes up to her and maybe gives her an offer to, like, just start over her life in Hinamizawa again, or just, like, continue the same loop that Rika goes through.
I feel like this is going to be a bit similar to what happens in Umaneku with the character of Ange, where Ange tries to kill herself because after what happens years ago in the events of Umaneku, she tries to kill herself because all her family is gone and she feels alone. And that's when Berncastel comes in and stops her, like, while she's trying to kill herself, and says, like, I can give you, I can make it so you can go back to that time and I guess potentially prevent your family from dying, basically. So I feel like it might be the same situation with Sadako, where she's either, like, I know you said, like, that she might kill Rika. I think it might be more likely that she might do something more drastic to herself. Maybe she tries, supposedly just tries to commit suicide, or tries, just goes so far off the deep end where she's, like, so incredibly depressed where she does something like that. And maybe one of the witches intervenes and stops her and says something similar to what Berncastel said to Ange from Umaneku, where the witch promises that, like, I can give you this power that'll make it so that, you never leave Hinamizawa, or, Rika will never leave. But the witch might not tell Sadako all, like, the finer details, I guess, because it might be that Sadako doesn't know how much Rika really is suffering or something. So maybe she just, the witch just doesn't tell her that, and Sadako just believes that everything, as long as everything goes back to the way it is, that everything will be fine again or something. That's what I think is possible could happen.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, it's still possible. I mean, like, Berncastel also, like, I don't know how she went back in time to. There was, like, I think I mentioned this before. Like, there was that one epilogue scene in Higurashi Kai where we see Berncastel, like, somehow, like, a grown-up Berncastel, like, in the past, like, literally, like, changing Mio Takano's like literally like changing her past to the point where her parents don't die, and then she doesn't go to the deep end to where she causes all the problems in Hinamazawa in the first place.
I'm not really too familiar with all the lore surrounding witches and Umaneku and Higurashi, but I know that I think they can travel through time, but I'm not sure how much they can really like manipulate events like that. I know in Umaneku they can, but on Umaneku it's like a metaphorical game board, so they can, they can pretty much manipulate events however much they want. But I'm not sure if it works the same way with Higurashi though. So it's they might explain that better in the visual novel, but yeah, in the anime I'm not too sure. And it's also been a long time since I've seen the original series, so I don't exactly remember why that is.
Yeah, it's kind of fresh for me since I literally had to binge watch the entire thing in almost one go. But yeah, I really do. It's a good, today was a good episode. It was definitely building up Sadako's resentment towards Rika after they ended up attending St. Lucia Academy, and of course, like Sadako's mentality of like whether or not she wanted to be there, with Rika in that capacity. I guess it's just like, she was more or less like forced to be there instead of like having to do her own way naturally.
Yeah.
But she just, but the only reason why she ended up attending that school in the first place was to be with Rika. But but pretty much like we said, it's not what what it was cracked up to be for her. So eventually it is going to spiral down to the point where she is going to do something drastic. I feel like probably by the next episode, or maybe the episode after that.
Yeah, I feel like something has to happen in the next episode, because it feels like more like this episode was just sort of introducing us to the main conflict, I suppose, with Sadako. So maybe the next episode will follow up on that, considering it's sort of suggesting that Sadako might do something. I'm not entirely sure what she's going to do, but hopefully, because I was kind of hoping in this episode we might see the reason she became a looper, but I think it was more so just introducing us to the main, like I said, the main conflict of this particular arc. So maybe in the next episode we'll actually see that happen.
Yeah. It was, like I said, it was good episode. It was definitely, giving us the reason of why the conflict between Rika and Sadako turned out to be what it currently is. Well, not necessarily, it didn't tell us the entirety of like what happened, but it's definitely, a good step that, as to what eventually led to, what we saw a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, but I don't really have anything else to say about this episode. I don't know if you have anything else to add.
No, I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing like how this is going to break down by next week. I mean, well, it looks like it's pretty clear that Sadako is going to go into the deep end. The longer she's even there, so we don't know if like she's going to do something incredibly reckless that'll have her kicked out of the school, or she's just going to do something towards Rika that that's not going to turn out too well for either of them.
I think it's possible both things could happen. I think her being kicked out of school might definitely send her even further down into her into a downward spiral. So that could be what maybe triggers what ends up happening, whatever it is. But yeah, that's what I think is possible. But yeah, I guess we'll just have to see. And I'm kind of wondering when the village destroying part of this chapter is actually going to happen, considering the title. So I wonder if that has something to do with whatever's about to happen too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still curious as to why it's called the village destroying chapter when these this episode is literally taking place in St. Lucia Academy.
Yeah. But yeah, so that all being said, until next Thursday, we will see you all next time.